everybody. Welcome to Liberty Libations number 80. Thank y'all for joining us tonight. My name is Jake Green, joined as always by Zane, Placie, and Alden Hardee, and our special guest tonight, Mr. Philip Blackett. How you doing, man?
Doing pretty good. Happy to be with you guys, man. How are y'all?
Doing great. Can you give our audience and these guys a little intro on who you are?
Yeah. So I'm Philip, originally from the South, Memphis, Tennessee. So Southerner at heart. So that means a lover of all things barbecue, sweet tea, and Chick-fil-A.
You're speaking to the right people, Philip.
Yeah. Okay, good. These are my people, I see. Okay, cool. Went to school in North Carolina, went up north, worked a little bit on Wall Street, corporate America a little bit, did some entrepreneur stuff, went back to school for business, then later got my divinity degree in seminary during the pandemic when everyone was worried about if we're going to keep living or not. Mm-hmm. And up to this point now, I'm just at home in Boston. Got a wife of 8 years, twin daughters of 7 years.
Oh, heck.
Just trying to see how I can make a positive mark going forward. Just wrote a few books this year and just trying to see how I can be of help to people. And at the same time, try to keep this country in a nice, sane place going forward.
You called me out before the show about a humble flex. You just said
few books in 1 year. Yeah. I was going to say the same thing. It's crazy.
Okay. So give us, just tell me a brief synopsis of one of the books. I'm assuming it's this one right here, Disagree Without Disrespect. Is that going to be one?
Yeah, that's the more popular one, I would say. It's Disagree Without Disrespect, How to Respectfully Debate with Those Who Think, Believe, and Vote Differently from You.
Mm-hmm.
Gosh, couldn't be more pertinent to today, I think.
That's what I was hoping for. So, yeah.
Heck yeah. Well, we'll get to where everybody can find it later on, but I appreciate you joining the show. Zane, what you drinking tonight, man?
I've got beer from the Left Hand Brewing Company that's like some kind of white Russian combo with beer, which seems very strange, but I'm digging it. So
yeah, that's pretty strange. Alden, what are you drinking?
I've got a crazy, extra agave tequila.
Oh, dang.
It's just in French oak for a long time, and it tastes like raisins and bread pudding. It's just wild, and just again, it's for good measure.
There we go. That is a great combo.
Yeah.
Welcome to the show, brother.
Yeah, sorry for being a little late. One of those things.
That's okay. We're used to it. What are you drinking tonight?
I'll try to grab some of the meat from the fridge.
Nice. Little mead. You're a little. Oh, there we go.
I thought you said mead.
No,
yeah. Okay.
Mead.
I was like, if you have to drink mead.
Oban 14.
Nice.
Is what I'm drinking. And Philip, I assume you're drinking water in that mug.
I got some good old H2O.
There we
go. My
go.
best water boy voice.
If you remember. That's actually pretty good.
I pegged that. Yeah, that was exactly Adam Sandler. I love that. All right, y'all. Well, this show is sponsored by Rabbit Eye Wine. Let's pull them up on stage. Yeah, if you're looking for some friggin' delicious blueberry wine, I've got a bottle right here. Highly recommend. You can order it whatever state you're in. You can also pick it up if you're in the state of Georgia in person. Hopefully soon they'll start shipping to liquor stores around the country. But for now, it's just in Georgia. So look at all those places they ship to, individual orders. So yeah, go pick up some Rabbit Eye Wine, y'all. It's freaking delicious. Highly recommend. All right. Before we get started, anybody got anything we need to address?
I was just going to ask Philip, what part of Tennessee did you live in?
Memphis.
Oh, okay. The other side. I live near Chattanooga.
Yeah.
I just flipped the border. I was in the Tennessee side, and now I'm on the Georgia side. But
yeah.
So you weren't kidding when you say you like good barbecue, then, though, because Memphis barbecue is for real.
Of course. I went from Memphis barbecue to North Carolina barbecue, and I don't really see much barbecue up here in Boston, but just manage.
And if you did, it would not be the same.
It'd be clearly an imported barbecue from somewhere. But
there we go.
We'll see.
Yeah.
Well, y'all, I have some pretty terrible news. Probably knew it was coming. No one saw any signs of it. But Joe Biden seems like he's slipping behind closed doors. No one saw this coming. I just want to start off with letting y'all know the president might be in trouble. He shows signs of slipping. This is according to the Wall Street Journal.
That's a shock to all of us. Yeah.
Well, what was the indicator when he pooped himself? The third
I was
time?
just about to sip.
Outside of closed doors, he's been showing some signs of slipping for a while. So I'm surprised it's taken this long for them to appear behind closed doors.
That's pretty good, Zane. All right, that was just for fun. Let's talk about something real. All right, bring it on up, Zach. So Russia this week sent down some warships, a nuclear sub or two, to hang out in Cuba. Apparently, they passed about 25 miles away from the Florida coast, and they're sitting right now, I think, 55 miles, 60 miles from Florida. There's definitely been some misinformation out there of people posting videos of test launches, but those happened like 6 years ago, but they're making them look like they're happening right now. So just be aware of that. But
I saw some of that were like from an air show from a couple weeks ago of U.S. planes. And they were saying, "Oh, look," and you look at it, and it's like, "Yeah, the Navy doesn't fly B-2 bombers. Sorry, your claims are obviously wrong."
So, I don't know. What do y'all think? Is this something to be concerned about? I've seen lots of people be concerned. I've seen people say that this is a routine thing, that they've sent warships and nuclear subs there before. I don't know. What are y'all's first thoughts on that one?
For what reason, though?
That's a very good question. I mean, I don't know, in my conspiracy riddled brain, I would argue that we started putting weapons exactly on their border, and so they want to put weapons on our border. That would be my first. That was my knee jerk.
But also, this comes right as the U.S. funded weapons are being used to strike within Russian borders, which previously they were like, don't do that, and now it's strike Russians in your borders, but not in their borders, and now that's no longer the case. And so, I thought part of the speculation was, well, they want to be close enough where we're hitting inside their borders, they hit inside ours. So,
yeah, Jake, what you were saying there to begin with, the fact that we've had NATO troops right by Russia's border, I think that's really important because, I have no idea what Russia's intention here is, but what I do know is that for a lot of people that are now highly concerned about this and really angry at Russia for doing it, it exposes them as being hypocrites. Because if you remember 2 years ago, when we were constantly informed that Russia's invasion of Ukraine was completely unprovoked, it was provoked by 20 years of NATO troops and, warheads and all that stuff, being as close to Russia as Russia's warships are now to the U.S. So obviously it's not something I would prefer Russia not be over here, but for everybody that's completely flipping out about it, but thinks that's perfectly fine for the U.S. to be doing the exact same thing to them, I think needs to take a look at, wow, you're concerned. That's pretty reasonable, but how about you conduct your own affairs the same way?
So it's almost like Russian, it's kind of like Cuban Missile Crisis 2.0. That was about us sticking nukes in Turkey, and this is, us sticking weapons on their border in Ukraine. And now it's, well, you can't do it to us. We did it to you first. And so it'll probably, it worked once before where, all right, let's negotiate that neither side has weapons on each other's border, and or at least in the intermediate range, in the intermediate range, and
So that was what I was thinking too, Nick. I was like, it's been a while since I've been in school, but I do remember, like, in American history class, this event called the Cuban Missile Crisis, and that was pretty tense time. And I'm trying to recall, what was that like, and what's different or similar with this time around?
Well, I mean, Kennedy was president, and he wanted to.
So the CIA had
Yeah,
pitched Kennedy the whole
There we go.
Operation
Northwoods, which was basically to have a loaded commercial jet fly into Cuban airspace and then blow it up remotely. And this is all, by the way, like an official public record kind of thing. Like it's not like just a loose theory. With citizens on board, and have a pre-recorded whole thing of like, oh my God, that's a Cuban jet, and then and JFK was like, nah, we're gonna not do that, and I think it was one of the reasons that, because he stopped playing ball, I think it's one of the reasons why he was, but if you can't tell, I'm like Alden even more conspiracy theorist than Jake on this.
Alden's our resident conspiracy theory expert. He literally has folders and folders on things that you've never heard of.
In this particular case, though, this is not a conspiracy theory. Correct. This is completely documented.
Not conspiracy theory in the way that the CIA called it conspiracy theory to discredit it, but it is a conspiracy theory where a bunch of people at the CIA conspired to blow up a commercial jetliner and blame it on Cuba.
So it's literally
for the purpose of getting us into war.
It's a conspiracy at this point. It's not a conspiracy theory, but
and it ties into others.
Yeah, but to your broader point, JFK was surrounded by advisors that wanted him to attack Russia or Cuba in some way,
and
I really have a lot of respect for him because he found a diplomatic solution to getting the missiles out of there without causing thermonuclear wars. So I'm very grateful to him for that.
Yeah, and we all should be, honestly. And I like my tiny little soapbox moment just to take a moment to say that a conspiracy theory doesn't have to just be false. Like, I don't like that as a culture now we're just like assuming that's a conspiracy theory. It's like, no, there's a lot of conspiracy theories that turn out to be true or
partially true, or
at least partially true. Yeah, and I don't think they have to be mutually exclusive things, the truth and a conspiracy theory or whatever.
Yeah, I'm merely pointing out that a theory is something that has not yet been conclusively proven true or false, whereas this has been conclusively proven true. So it gets to be promoted from conspiracy theory to conspiracy.
Right.
Conspiracy hypothesis becomes conspiracy theory, and then there are conspiracy laws. Thank you for that, Brian.
Beautiful.
Now somebody could just refresh my memory of what a conspiracy is, and all this can make more sense for me.
I think the definition would be a group or two or more people making a plan behind the scenes. I think that's literally what a conspiracy is.
That is the dictionary definition of conspiracy.
Yeah. And so it became popularized by the CIA.
Yeah.
They coined the term so that they could dismiss people who came up with theories about what they were doing. And so basically
they either coined it or propagated it a lot.
Yeah, they propagated it a lot. So that's basically what happened with that. And now, if you're called a conspiracy theorist today, you get shadow banned, you get banned on certain things, you get censored, all sorts of stuff. Like Alex Jones is going through some crap right now.
Yeah. I'm not sure, Philip, how you your book was saying, working with people differently and respectfully, with how they vote. And I feel like you've been so respectful. I don't know I can't get a read on you. I don't know which way you go. And so I normally like to kind of feel someone out so I don't say anything too ridiculous, that's too offensive. But
I think I'm kind of one of those rare people you come across where if I don't know the subject, I don't try to act like I do.
Oh my god!
Oh my gosh! Holy cow!
What do you do? Do you ask questions or some weird thing? That's bizarre.
That's kind of what I do. It doesn't mean I'm stupid. I'm just trying to learn.
No, I very much wish that more people would do this.
Appreciate that.
Yeah.
That's why Zane keeps his mouth shut during all of our crazy conspiracy nonsense because he has no idea, and he just sits there getting angry and wishing he was somewhere else.
No, but you bring up economics or trivia, and Zane is that's his wheelhouse.
I forgot.
What usually happens here is that Alden and Jake and another guy we don't have on the show tonight go on for a half an hour about the craziest series that you've ever heard of. And then I get a couple minutes at the end to kind of rebut the more ridiculous
to bring us back
things
to
that they've
reality.
said.
Yeah, he
We
brings
could
us
talk
back
about
to
manhole covers again.
No, we're not going to talk about manhole covers. We're not doing that.
I wasn't there for that.
I guess my question is, this seems like a pretty serious topic.
Yeah.
But yet, when you look at the media nowadays, I think we're so focused on things that aren't as serious as this that it just kind of boggles my mind. Because like when I first heard it, it's like, okay, that means they're within earshot of the country.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you ever played the game Battleship. Or watch the movie Independence Day.
There we go.
Where they like triangulated certain ships to position them a certain way. And I'm thinking to myself, is this kind of similar where like, okay, you got ships in Cuba and you can get ships in another place, and then all of a sudden you got the person with the button and they're just waiting for that right time, and yet and still we're doing nothing.
Yeah.
I think this would be kind of a primary news topic, but unfortunately it doesn't come off that way.
No, I think what's more important is gendered bathrooms. I'm pretty sure that's definitely scarier.
Yeah. It's so much more important that everybody knows that Donald Trump was convicted of paying off hookers. So we've got to make sure everybody is well informed about that.
Certain priorities.
I mean, what I find even more worrisome is like these are the ships and the subs we know about. How many submarines do we not know where they are and where they're positioned and where they're going and what they're capable of?
That's the whole essence of a submarine, right?
Yeah.
Below the water.
Yeah.
How many? I mean, at the same point, how many subs do we have sitting off of Russia?
True. Yeah, exactly.
How many are sitting in the Black Sea? How many are sitting in the North Sea? How many are sitting? I mean, we don't know where ours are. They don't know. We don't know where theirs are. It's kind of the subs are always a big threat because of that.
You can thank the Germans for that, right?
Yeah.
Do they invent them?
I just
not completely
concerning. That's all.
Yeah, it's very concerning. But they mastered them. So it was the U-boats during World War II. They mastered the submarine world. But
those were at least diesel electric.
Yeah, the first submarine was like War of 1812, American Revolution.
The first attempt at a submarine was called the Turtle in the American Revolution, but it didn't work. The first submarine that actually accomplished something was during the Civil War. It was a Confederate ship called the CSS Hunley, or technically not just the Hunley, but it successly rammed a bomb into a Union ship that was blockading Charleston Harbor. I've been with my cousin to see this. It rammed a bomb into a ship. It blew up that ship, but then at some point between that and when it was supposed to come back to the harbor, it sank and everybody died. But at least it accomplished its primary mission. They found it in the harbor like 20 years ago, and they've been trying to restore it ever since. So
that seems totally worth it. That really good.
It was a kamikaze mission.
Gosh.
But yeah, I mean, the submarines are where things really started to take a turn in World War I with, especially, them on the North Atlantic trading routes, especially like the Lusitania, which is once again another false flag that got us into World War I.
Yep.
Especially since it wasn't until it was one.
Yep.
And it was only, and that happened early on, and then only a couple years later did it come back, and they went, "Oh, remember when they blew that ship up that was carrying weapons for the British over to Europe to go against the Germans?"
Yep.
Because I believe at the time the Germans put out a whole bunch of like, "Hey, if you get on this ship, we are liable to attack it because it is carrying weapons. It is a warship. Civilians don't get on it." And then they loaded a whole bunch of civilians on it and said, "Oh, look, they sunk a civilian ship."
What's scarier, Russian nuclear subs or Russian trained dolphins with bombs attached to them?
Sharks with lasers.
Yeah, with freaking laser beams.
Thanks, Nick. The option that wasn't on the table. Yeah, I mean, I agree with you, Philip. I think far there aren't enough people talking about this, and I don't think people are making a big enough deal of it. I think it should be worrisome that freaking massive warships and nuclear submarines are parked 50 miles off the coast. Like, I know it just might be a posturing thing, or just be like, we know what you can do to us. Here's what we can do to you.
There's probably almost always a Russian sub parked 50 miles off the coast.
Yeah,
somewhere.
But that was kind of my point. The fact that they are advertising it and like driving
brazenly flexing
water
it
right off the coast that's not normal. They don't normally do that, and so that leads me to believe something has changed, and I don't really know what the future might hold because of that.
And on top of just, sorry, go ahead.
No, I'm about to say here's the thing though, like clearly we're civilians, right? There's plenty of things that are below our radar that we don't know about, and for good reason, right? Classified information, classified objectives and missions and that sort of thing. And we usually chalk it up to, hey, the people who need to know about that, they have it taken care of, and I trust them, and I feel confident, and I can go to sleep at night knowing that. This administration, I don't really have that same feeling, because when you started off with our president and commander-in-chief sleeping off, listen, I don't have the most confidence right now that maybe that's the whole story of Russia is just like, hey, we're just gonna make it more obvious for you that we're doing this because you haven't picked up on what we were doing covertly earlier.
And I think it's beyond just the U.S. population knowing that the subs are around. I think it's even more important for them to understand why they're here. Obviously, Russia would not find any use in having subs around here if we weren't getting so entrenched in a conflict halfway across the globe that we have no business being involved in there at all. If we weren't constantly poking Russia in the face over Ukraine, then there's no reason why we'd have to worry about nuclear subs in Cuba at all. So there are consequences to having a global empire. And if people just think, oh, Russian subs are here, Russians must be evil, because why else would you need to have subs over here? Because we're awesome and great. Well, the reason is because if you're trying to be a global empire, there are other countries that might not appreciate that.
Yeah, very true.
Providing full context of the preceding events of things is not really something that's ever really happens, right? True. So I mean, no one knows about, no one pays attention to 2004 in Ukraine, 2014 in Ukraine. It was just, oh, Russia invaded unprovoked. But then you look back to 9/11, oh, they attacked us for our freedoms. Let's ignore, bombing Iraq for a decade out of air bases in Saudi Arabia, and all the other causes that were laid quite clearly out.
Yeah.
As to why they are unhappy.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, the same thing happens with like the Israel-Palestine stuff. Like, no one goes back. Everyone just thinks the last atrocity to happen is the first thing that happened, and so they'll blame the other side no matter what. And it's
truncating the antecedents. That's what Scott Horton always says.
There we go. It's
that's
Scott Horton
the
language. I love it.
Truncating the antecedents.
Stephen said, remember all the joint military drills Russia did with us in the Gulf during the Obama years? I don't remember that at all. Anybody else remember that?
Well, I was 10.
Yeah. I mean, we know you're young. Okay. Shut your mouth.
He was playing Battleship the game for real.
Yeah.
I honestly was.
B-16.
Oh man. Well, let's just as a dose to bring us back to reality with this particular conversation, let's bring up this clip just so there's some context to what we're being told at any given moment.
Showed footage of the aftermath of a Ukrainian drone strike on Moscow. Ready? Here we go.
A new chapter unfolding in the Russia-Ukraine war, and it's disturbing. This morning in Moscow, a city of 21 million people, there's a pre-dawn attack. Drones struck several buildings. According to Russia's defense ministry, 5 of 8 drones were shot down. The 3 other drones had their systems jammed, causing them to veer off course.
Wait a minute. Are you telling me?
A new chapter unfolding in the Russia-Ukraine war, and it's disturbing. This morning in Moscow, a city of 21 million people.
Really? So which neighborhood in Moscow is that, you think? I'm going to think it's that Russian neighborhood called Davenport, Iowa. That's what that is. That's what that is.
So
Wow.
that's just
Kind of
a
interesting.
reminder to not believe everything that you hear. We are not always presented with actual correct information, because that was the actual news telling us that drone strikes caused a building to collapse when that was just an
Well, that was like,
Well-
do you remember a couple years ago there was there were like news reports, oh, this firefight broke out somewhere in the Middle East or whatever, and it was a bunch
Yeah.
of guys in Kentucky having a range day.
Yeah.
And they've been doing this for so long, like even right at the start of COVID, and everybody was panicking about how over in Italy it was so bad, and they were playing clips of supposed Italian hospitals being overrun,
Yeah.
and those clips were from like a decade before and completely fake. It's
Yeah.
like
Philip, you were about to say something?
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing, guys. Like, that was at what, Newsmax? Like a somewhat at least reputable
Mhm.
TV news network, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Quote reputable. Yeah.
Well, here's my thing, right? Like, we were just talking about conspiracy theories, and that's
Mhm.
like a way that people say, "Oh, he's a conspiracy theorist. Let's not pay him no mind. His, like, he just needs to go off in the corner and play with battleship games by himself or something like that."
And it's always in his mom's basement, you know.
in his mom's basement. But now you have a somewhat major news network that's broadcasting news to a sizable population, leading them to believe something that just is not true.
Mhm.
And you're saying that with a straight face, and people are taking action based off of that. That's like, that to me is really concerning.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I don't think it's I think it's been happening a lot longer than we're aware of. Because I think like now we're able to disprove it because of the dissemination of information. You don't always know what's real because there is so much information and misinformation and disinformation, all that stuff out there. But it is far more easy to prove that people who are experts in things or telling us the truth aren't actually telling us the truth nowadays. Whereas like
You still got to
60
catch
years
them.
ago, it was like 3 channels, 3 channels, no internet. You couldn't talk to your friends, across the country. Now you can just see somebody in an instant.
yeah. And to go back to what we were talking about World War One and talking about propagandizing people just by making stuff up, there was a really famous report of when Germany first invaded Belgium during World War One, of German soldiers just going around and bayoneting babies.
Ooh.
And then it was a couple of years after that, the reporter that wrote that story admitted, yeah, I just thought that was probably happening somewhere, so I just made up the entire story.
Oh, good Lord.
And
It's
And it was
always
just
the
this-
stories of babies.
The British in particular were just so good at propagandizing the US into wanting to enter World War One that we eventually did. And really that there's a podcast I listened to called the Dangerous History Podcast that did a really deep dive into the propaganda during World War One. And the fact that so much of that was happening even 100 years ago really opened my eyes to all of the ways that it could be happening today.
This is the most poignant comment. According to research, gnomes are 70% more intelligent than humans, and that's from Grumpy Gnome, so it's trustworthy.
but that's gnome funded research though.
Yeah, I want to see the peer-reviewed study.
I've never seen a gnome though. So are they like sub gnomes or something? Or are they like underground? I never seen them walking around with the bunny rabbits or the squirrels.
Well, I mean, we have King of the Gnomes in the comments. Like Grumpy Gnome, he's the king of all the gnomes, so I'm sure he could shed some light on.
He's
where
the equivalent of like Papa Smurf for gnomes, yeah.
yeah, exactly.
So regarding like these falsified stories that are in like mainstream news, and like what Zane brought up about like whether it was Italy or Spain or whatever, and it was like a footage from 10 years ago with some other flu or something, and like Okay, my question is, we're saying, oh, it's easy to prove that it's wrong. And that's sort of true, but do the people that see it, that then, like in this case, like get a shot and vote a certain way, and like, you know, the whole identity politics, and they get wrapped up in the narrative, are those people, even when it's proven untrue, are they going to reconsider their position on it because they're so deep in now, you know?
I hear what you're saying. I think the entrenched people, no. I think it takes years and years of just talking. But there are going to be people who have not made up their minds, who see something like what Jimmy Dore just talked about and said, oh my gosh, like that could that moment could be somebody's turning point, you know, where they're like, oh, I'm being lied to. I need to question things more than I did before. So like, I think there are a group of people that are more geared for that. But then obviously there are going to be people who are entrenched no matter what.
Yeah.
But like even back in the day, you wouldn't be able to reach that one group of people because there would be no way to reach them because there's no internet. So I do think it is a like net positive having the internet around to actually communicate and do research. Let's see. Grumpy says, don't question my research. I am the science.
He's the Fauci of the gnomes.
Fauci's going to sue, yeah.
Yeah.
I trust gnome research more than Fauci research at this point. But
Yeah, that's fair.
Which one is the doctor, they say?
All right, y'all. Zane, I hope you're ready because it's... It is trivia time, everybody.
Woo.
All right. I don't think have we had a guest on trivia this year? I don't think we
I
have.
don't even know.
Philip, you might be our
No.
first guest on trivia this year. Congrats.
Hooray!
I used to be the one who ran it, but then Zane won every single game we ever played. And so
most of them, I got a couple when he wasn't around.
it's true. then we decided to make him run it. All right. We'll add that to stage. You good to go, Zane?
All right. Yep. All right, everyone. Welcome
Hang on.
to the live.
Let me explain the rules to Philip because he doesn't know.
Oh well, I was about to explain. The
Okay,
rules.
go explain away, man.
I have an entire slide with the rules.
Oh, my bad.
Don't mind me. I'm just jamming to the nostalgic video game Avengers music.
Right.
Yeah, man.
Go
I've
ahead.
actually
Background
found this
music
song
every
on
time.
Spotify. I like it so much. All right. So, welcome everyone to Libations Trivia. We do this in 3 rounds. The first round is 8 questions worth 1 point each. Second round is 6 questions worth 2 points each. Third round is 4 questions, 3 points each. So during each round, I'll read the question. First one to cover their camera with their hand like this, I'll call on, and then I'll call on people in order in which they do that. If people are not getting it, I will attempt to provide hints, and the audience can also participate. So Jake will be pulling up the audience comments, and if they get it right, then the audience gets the point.
No. Zach will be doing that since he's the producer and I'm now a contestant.
Oh, that's right.
Zach,
I
you have
forgot
to
we
do
actually have the
that.
producer today.
Yeah.
Can
So
I-
Zach will be doing that.
Can I get first dibs on the gnome being on my team?
All right. I like that strategy. Yeah. I don't think we're going to allow that, but I like the strategy.
Did I miss any of the rules, Jake?
No, that was great. I mean, you did forget to say that whoever wins is no longer a loser. So, but other
Well,
than
that's
that,
stupid.
What? I don't get a participation trophy at least.
you get a loser badge. That's pretty much it. Yeah.
Oh man.
If you ain't first, you're last.
Oh, do you have the scoreboard, Jake, or should I be keeping score?
Oh yeah, dadgummit. Hannah says someone draft her. Let me pull up a scoreboard real
I'll
quick.
take Hannah on my team.
All right.
Does
While
she
you're
get
doing
answers
that-
right?
What'd
What?
you say, Nick?
I said, does she get answers right?
Hannah? Yeah,
I think
A
Hannah,
lot, yeah.
Hannah wins.
What's the criteria on a good teammate?
It's a good question. We've never played teams before. That would be an interesting one.
Usually with
Trust
trivia, it's
the
the
audience,
fewer
I'll pick
friends
Steve.
you have, the better you are.
Hmm. Let's see. Reset to default. Boom, boom.
So while
boom.
Jake is pulling up the scoreboard, I'll introduce tonight's categories. Round 1, business and technology. Round 2, art and architecture. Round 3, my alma mater, University of Georgia alumni.
Yeah, I'm screwed round 2 and round 3 then.
I'm not gonna know that. Yeah.
Art and architect. Oh, this is all. Well, no, the first 2 rounds I'm good. The third round
I feel like this is slanted.
Well, Zane's the only one who went to Georgia, so that's not going to help anybody.
Yeah.
I went to school
Alright.
in Georgia. Does that count?
No, it doesn't.
It's not gonna help me.
All right, scoreboard's ready. Let's go.
SCAD is not even a real school.
I mean, I'm
Thanks for
about to agree with you. Honestly, that's fine.
All right, we're ready to go.
But I made shiny things.
Okay.
Next.
All right. Round 1, business and technology. Question 1. In a 1999 lawsuit, a man alleged breach of contract after a certain company refused to exchange a fighter jet for 7 million of what units? Nick.
It was wasn't that some sort of Pepsi points?
Pepsi points.
No.
What?
Wait, what?
Wow.
Wow.
Repeat the
And you
score.
give him only 1 point for that?
What's the story behind this?
Okay, so the story behind this is that this is a frame from a Pepsi commercial where they were like advertising different things that you could get, like Pepsi merch, like a watch or like a
Wow.
t-shirt or something for various amounts of Pepsi points. And then at the end, it shows people coming to school on a fighter jet, and it says Harrier fighter jet, 7 million Pepsi points. And you could buy Pepsi points for 10 cents each. So there was this guy that sent Pepsi a check for $700,000 and was like, I'll have my fighter jet, please. And Pepsi was like, no. And then he sued them for breach of contract.
Good for him. He
Did he win?
No.
Oh, he should have won. That's crazy. In a free America, he would have won.
Yeah, I'm screwed if these get harder than that because I didn't even know that Pepsi had a point system in the 90s. I didn't know anything about this.
Me neither.
You only got 1 point for
All right.
It's a really decently known story. I think Zach said there's a documentary on Netflix. I remember seeing something at one point on it. So
Yeah.
Fair.
I have a feeling
is-
Nick's gonna win this. That's just my
Yeah.
bet.
I don't feel good about my odds anymore.
I don't
All
have
right, go ahead,
Netflix right
Zane.
now, so.
Question 2. The companies with the stock symbols DAL, HD, and KO are all headquartered in what city? Philip,
Atlanta, Georgia.
you are
Good
correct.
guess.
Wow. Good job.
What are the companies?
DAL is Delta, HD is Home Depot, and KO is Coca-Cola.
Coca-Cola was the one that tipped it for me.
did not
I see.
know-
I didn't know that.
KO. That's a weird one. Okay. Cool. Bravo.
Cocaine.
What's up, some quack?
Question 3. What insurance marketplace has a reputation for insuring unusual risks, such as David Beckham's legs, Bruce Springsteen's voice, Troy Polamalu's hair, and the Intelsat 1, which was the first spacecraft to be insured? Nick.
I wanted to say it was it Lloyd's?
Lloyd's of London.
Man, yeah, Nick might win this one, y'all.
Yeah, wow. The only Lloyd I know is Lloyd Christmas.
Who's That's the only Lloyd anybody should care about.
I was an insurance major in college, so I had to take the opportunity to ask a question about insurance.
Oh, you had to. Yeah, you had no
Oh,
choice.
yeah.
Yeah. That's a major?
I was about to say the same thing.
Didn't even know it was a major.
What's the curriculum for that?
Tougher than mine.
Yes.
I won't get into it because we'll lose all our viewers.
Yeah.
We would lose them instantly.
Sounds like a lot of statistics and actuaries. That sounds really mind-numbing. Thing.
I am an actuary, by the way, so you have it right.
Gosh. I won't ask you to predict our own life expectancies then, just for our sanity.
With those
Based
nukes
on the
hitting off the coast, it's
submarines.
yeah,
Yeah.
rapidly
Yeah.
depleting.
I was making the same joke.
All right, 2 answers required for this one. Question 4. What do the O and the Q stand for in OLED and QLED televisions, respectively? Nick.
I want to say O is organic and Q is quantum.
You got both of them.
Dang.
I got the second one. I would not have gotten organic.
Man, I was going to say orange peel and quinine because that sounds like a tasty drink, but that's not right. So
Obsolete in quality. That's a
there you go.
Question 5. The logo of what food chain uses parts of its initials to convey the number of its offerings? Alden.
Is it Dr. Pepper?
No. Jake.
No.
Is that what you were going to say?
No. But I don't have a guess. I was going to say 7-Eleven.
Oh, shit,
Philip.
I can't go.
Baskin Robbins?
Yes, that's what it is, dude.
You
Good
got
call. Is that the new logo?
So I didn't realize they had changed their logo, but when I went to get the picture for this, they apparently changed their logo a couple of years ago. It used to be different, but it was the same concept where the...
I remember more of like a
zany.
zany flag looking kind of thing or something.
Yeah,
it was more handwritten or something.
Yeah.
Right? Before that?
Good job, Philip.
Yeah.
I'm a logo designer, so I'm frustrated that I didn't get that one. But I thought of it like after I said the stupid one. Dang it.
Question 6. What keyboard layout, patented by its namesake University of Washington professor in 1936, purportedly offers a faster and more ergonomic alternative to the QWERTY layout?
No.
Jake.
No.
You
Professor
think someone's name
QWERTY.
was QWERTY?
Jake was gonna say QWERTY.
I was going to say QWERTY too.
QWERTY.
Oh my god, that's too funny.
The audience gets it.
Nice.
Dvorak?
Dvorak.
Oh my gosh.
I didn't know what it was, but I knew it wasn't QWERTY.
Yeah.
So QWERTY is because the first keys in the top
Yeah.
left are
Yep.
Q, W, E, R, T, Y.
But a hilarious thought to think that if Dr. QWERTY just laid it out that way because he's like an egomaniac, like that's hilarious.
And it just happened to put like the more substantially used keys right in the middle where you could easily reach them. Yeah.
There you go.
Question 7. Which of the big 4 accounting firms with a 3-letter initialism was notoriously responsible for awarding the 2017 Best Picture Oscar to the wrong film?
Oh.
Nick.
3-letter. I thought it was all Ernst and Young.
I just thought it was that racist old white woman that said the wrong name.
Oh.
But
I'm counting the ampersand sign. I'm counting the and as a.
I was doing the same thing, Nick. I agree.
No, it's not Ernst and Young. Not
is this the whole thing with
KPMG.
Moonlight?
Hannah successfully spammed the answer because it's PricewaterhouseCoopers.
Oh, okay.
The story with that is that the Oscars hired them to prepare the envelopes with all the winners in them,
Mhm.
and they put La La Land in the envelope instead.
Oh, was
of
it
Moonlight.
really in the envelope? Is that the real
Yeah.
thing? Okay.
It was
I
really in
remember
the
this
envelope.
happening. Yeah.
I
I remember
thought-
that happening.
Well, I didn't look into this after, but when I saw it, I thought that the woman just like could not handle it being Moonlight or something. So misinformation on my part. My bad.
Like a Kanye thing.
Yeah.
I'm gonna let you finish, but
When you only had one job, could be a person.
Mhm.
all right. Last question of the round. Question 8. A staple of the early 2010s viral dance craze genre, the music video for what song became the first YouTube video to get 1 billion views?
I was out at viral dance craze.
I don't know.
Jake.
Hips don't lie.
No.
You said early 2010s.
Yeah.
Billion. This was this Harlem Shake?
No, but the audience got it. It was Gangnam Style.
Gangnam Style.
Nice.
Style.
Yeah, Philip knows.
Man. All right. Is that the end
I'm
of the
doing-
first round?
Terribly today.
Yep.
All right. After one round, Alden has 0, Philip has 2, Jake has 0, Nick has 3, and the audience has 3.
God, if I lose to the audience, I'm not going to be too happy.
I think it's pretty much guaranteed I'm losing to the audience. So
The audience started doing significantly better ever since I started hosting. I don't know why that is.
it's a good question. I don't know.
You're picking
I have a
harder questions
conspiracy
than I can
theory
spam
about
them.
it.
I'm leaking the answers to the audience before the show. That's what's going on. All right, round 2.
All
Art
right.
and architecture. Question 1. According to the name of this photograph, what are these people doing? Philip.
Eating lunch.
Eating lunch.
Dadgummit, Philip.
Nice.
I really thought about sitting this round out, but goodness gracious, this is my lucky day.
The photograph is called Lunch Atop a Skyscraper.
This was pre-OSHA.
That would terrify the shit out of me.
Oh, I
couldn't
would
do that. I
faint.
can't believe those guys did that. That
That's
is
crazy.
takes some
Just walk
stomach.
around hundreds of feet in the air with no harnesses. Just
I got shaky knees just on the second story trying to cut a tree limb the other day. Like I can't even fathom
I
this.
mean that just looking at it makes my stomach turn.
Yeah.
Like, what if you drop your ketchup packet all of a sudden?
It's an instrument of death now. Yeah.
It's not worth it. Let it go.
If you drop your sandwich and it kills someone, like, is that manslaughter at this point?
No, it's ham slaughter.
But
That's normally a Steven thing. Way to go, Zane.
yeah.
Question 2. In the traditional color wheel, what term describes colors such as vermilion, teal, and chartreuse, which are made by mixing a primary color with a secondary color? Jake.
Tertiary colors.
A tertiary
Nice.
color.
that's what I was gonna guess.
Alden, how did you not know that,
Not
man?
really
Because I paint.
You literally went to art
and-
school.
I don't study it now. Yeah, I don't know.
Brian says they're not colors, and I'm inclined to agree with him.
Chartreuse is liqueur, also. So
All right. Well, that's the one you knew, right? You knew that one.
Yeah.
'Cause it's the liquor. Yeah.
Question 3. What Spanish painter commemorated resistance to Napoleon in his 1814 works The 2nd of May, 1808 and The 3rd of May, 1808? Not Picasso. A bit
Definitely.
earlier than Picasso.
Yeah, that's earlier than Picasso.
Picasso
Where's
does
n-
dumb paintings anyway.
Where's Gnome in all this? He's pretty quiet right now.
Yeah.
Well, we're not on the science. He's the science.
He say
Stephen Hilton.
Audience gets it.
Goya.
Francisco Goya. Specifically,
Yeah,
the 2nd of May, 1808 depicts a riot against Napoleon, and the 3rd of May, 1808 depicts all of the rioters being executed.
Oh, jeez. Okay.
All right. Womp, womp, womp.
Yeah.
We should really commission a series of paintings called the 6th of January 2021 and the 7th of January 2021.
I don't think that would go over very well with certain groups of people.
I'll call Goya.
All right, question 4. In 2019, a Miami gallery displayed a piece called Comedian, which was just what fruit duct taped to a wall? A performance artist subsequently removed and ate the work. Nick.
A banana.
Dadgummit.
Yeah.
It
Oh.
was a banana.
It was a friggin' tie. It was a friggin' tie.
So let me get this straight. You put a banana on a wall. And you called it the comedian.
Is it because it looks like a smile? Was it duct taped in this orientation? I didn't see
No.
this, but
Did they say what size it was? Maybe that's why it was funny.
It was a mini Chiquita. Yeah.
No, it was just a regular
reaction to let that
banana
happen.
duct taped to the wall. And the funny thing was, he was selling it for 120 grand, but because bananas go bad after a couple days, the work was not actually a particular banana because it got replaced every couple days. The work was the idea of a banana being taped to the wall.
Is this like Damien Hirst?
This is why people don't respect artists.
The guy.
No, it was a different guy. It was a performance artist that I think was, at least partially trying to make fun of the fact that this was a serious piece of art. He did a piece of performance art called The Hungry Artist, where he just went up to it, took it down off the wall, and just started eating it in the middle of the museum with everybody watching.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
You can get away.
Too far.
They replace it regularly. Is that the deal? Is that what happened?
Nikki.
You can get away with a lot if you just call yourself a performance artist. That's what I've learned.
That's true.
All I know is if I paid $120,000 for a painting, I am definitely not eating it.
Or it better be a really good banana. Yeah.
No, I can't think of anything that's worth $120,000.
It's like the Fountain of Youth banana.
Not even in Iceland. Not even in Iceland.
All right, Jake. This is specifically for you because the return of your beloved number questions. So the painting we're looking at here, specifically a woodcut, is called The Great Wave off Kanagawa, and it was made by Katsushika Hokusai. And I want to know, in what year was it created? So all four of you will get one guess, and whoever gets closest gets the points.
Oh, Price is Right. Wonderful.
Not Price is Right, because you can go over.
Oh.
Yeah, just closest gets it.
I was going to guess one.
Well, who are we starting with?
Whoever raised their hand first.
Alden.
1750.
Okay. Jake.
1500.
Okay. Nick.
1853.
Okay. Audience says 1914. Philip.
One.
One. Perfect.
One.
Sticking with it.
All right. This goes to Nick. 1833.
1833.
20 years off. That's a good solid. That's a good.
There's a
solid
one in there.
Just after Steven said 1830. Sorry, Steven.
All right. Last question of the round. Buckminster Fuller inspired both the name and the unique shape of what Disney World attraction? Nick.
That was spaceship. Well, it was Spaceship Earth, geodesic dome, right?
Spaceship Earth.
Wow.
You said and the name?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, after 2 rounds,
Is that the Epcot ball thing?
Nick has 9, audience has 5, Philip has 4, I have 2, and Alden still has 0.
Yeah, I'm doing so good this time. I'm just here for moral support.
I don't feel supported whatsoever in my morality.
You should.
There's
You
no
have
way
more
I'm
than
getting
me.
anything here.
I have 0 so that you can feel like you have more.
I honestly can't think of anyone noteworthy that went to Georgia.
Well, me. So there you go.
I thought that was his joke, but
I stand by my
That's
statement.
Good recovery.
All right. Round 3. University of Georgia alumni were 3 points each. Question 1.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
yeah, potent.
Technically,
There's a
it's
chance,
still
Alden.
anybody's game.
There's a chance, Alden.
I gotta know
buddy.
everybody from Georgia.
Yeah.
Dan Amos is the CEO of what insurance company whose headquarters is the tallest building in Columbus, Georgia? Jake.
Progressive.
No. Alden.
Allstate.
No. Philip.
Affleck.
You got it.
Is it really?
Yeah, there we go, Philip.
I'm so glad that one was right.
I didn't realize anything was headquartered in Columbus, Georgia.
Well, it's pretty much just Affleck. It's Affleck and Thesis, I think, are the two biggies.
Affleck and ISIS?
Thesis.
I don't know what that is. Affleck.
Alden,
Oh my god.
Question
yeah,
2.
no, that was the nail in my coffin. Yeah, I'm just gonna drink.
What media personality has hosted Dick Clark's New Year's Rockin' Eve since 2006? Nick.
Ryan Seacrest.
Ryan Seacrest.
well, it's between Philip and Nick at this point because the audience is now out. But let's spoil it for the guest.
Question 3. Dr. Crawford Long is famous for his pioneering use of sulfuric ether for what purpose? Nick.
Dissolving dead bodies.
No.
Mm.
Alden.
Developing photos?
No. Audience gets it.
Oh, is that right?
Anesthesia.
My next joke was just going to be huffing it, but maybe you don't want to do that then.
All right, Philip and the audience are playing for second place at this point. Nick's got it in the bag, but let's find out who gets second.
All right. Question 4 for good measure. Hosted by Alton Brown, what Food Network program focused on the science and history associated with various foods and cooking techniques?
Repeat the question.
I watched the show 100 times, but I don't know the name of it.
Hosted by Alton Brown, what Food Network program focused on the science and history associated with various foods and cooking techniques?
It's a good show. Is that really it?
Yep.
Dude, I should have said it. It wouldn't have mattered. I couldn't have won, but that was what was in my mind. I was like, it's too simple. That can't be it.
Oh, wow!
That was the show that got me into cooking more because it spoke to the why for food.
Mm.
I got why you bake a custard at a lower temperature because it was talking about the egg proteins and things that. It was super cool, honestly. It's a good show.
All right. Well, Nick won with 12 points.
Congrats, Nick.
Audience got 11. Philip got 7. I got 2, and Alden got big.
I think I'm running twice in a row for me winning when I'm on.
I think you should shut your mouth. Then we should move on to other things.
Out there.
Well, if you needed more evidence that SCAD is a joke school, then I got 0 on the arts and architecture section. So.
I don't even think, besides the whole, that wasn't even really architecture. I guess the geodesic dome.
The category was art and architecture.
Right, but you weren't even I'm just saying it was barely any architecture.
Baroque.
Well, the first question about the skyscraper was kind of architecture.
I was just ready to pull out Baroque. That's the one architecture style I know.
Anything after Art Deco is trash.
Why are you hounding the host when you friggin' won, you doofus?
I'm just going to say anything after Art Deco is trash. So
I think that's called being a sore winner.
Yeah.
All right, y'all. Let's get into our second story for the evening, which I thought was the most fascinating one. The balloon offensive. All right. So basically what's been happening is exactly what that headline says. Seoul-based activists, Seoul as in North or South Korea, developed tech to send messages deep into North Korea using 3D printed balloons. Each balloon costs about $1,000. They put GPS on them and they drop leaflets and pamphlets and speakers and radios and all sorts of stuff. Stay on that map real quick because that's a fun one.
A
And
lot of them appear not to actually be ending up in North Korea. So much for the GPS.
No, all of them fly over North Korea except for 2 in that map. Like they drop leaflets in different places. So
So the balloons are actually like actively dropping other stuff.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, the balloons actively drop things. And so along that whole path, they're dropping leaflets and speakers and radios and all sorts of stuff. I thought it was a friggin' ingenious way to try to spread
To
information.
liberate a people here.
Well, hopefully, one of those balloons doesn't end up over Montana.
Well, I don't know. We won't shoot it down. So, it'll just sit there.
So I take it these balloons aren't the ones that had excrement waste in them?
I don't think so.
What story is that?
Wasn't there
That's the other half of it. That's the return fire.
Hey, Philip, what are you talking about?
Yeah, is this a story?
I would have sworn there was a story about some country sending balloons. Oh, see, maybe I think that's Zach.
The
right
The North retaliated with it by saying
They were sending like pooping in the balloons.
I mean, how what
Wow.
a stupid thing to do. You're never gonna hit the people who actually sent the dadgum balloons. Like
I'm surprised that North Korea has enough food to be able to produce enough poop for that.
Oh my god.
They didn't say
Burn.
which type of poop though, Zane.
Yeah.
It didn't have to come from humans.
It's just a lot of mouse poop.
So I read something wrong. It looks like they didn't drop speakers. They had certain speakers on certain balloons that would only go a certain height so that they could blare like messages in the radio and stuff to the people below.
Celine Dion.
And then the ones that were carrying leaflets were between 3,500 and 9,000 meters. And they were, you saw the map, they were dropping them everywhere.
What would you say though? Hey, your life sucks there. Like, do something about it.
It's a good question.
What is the message?
I would love to see what is in. I mean, they go through all these diagrams. Like if you keep scrolling down, Zach, because they go through like what the balloons actually do, the release valves, the payload, how the payloads are in there, how they shoot out all these leaflets. It's wild.
The year is 2024.
Those balloons look suspiciously like scrotums.
Yeah, they should even show a demonstration right below that diagram, Zach. Look at that.
Oh wow.
Like
Rapid fire.
that is pretty sweet.
There's your propaganda right there.
There's your propaganda. Yeah. I wonder.
Yeah, I want a copy of this leaflet. I want to see what they're spreading.
Well, you wouldn't be able to read it, so
let's see.
I want to translate
not
a
in
copy.
English.
That's fair.
I've got a new campaign technique in mind. Then I'll just launch some balloons.
So let's see. They said
we need to tell Chase about this.
They said in the speaker version of these, one of the messages says, "Get rid of the Workers' Party, then I don't know. Joseon can survive. Kim Jong-un is a traitor that opposes unification." So that's, I don't know. That's something that they say. Man, I just thought this was incredibly fascinating. What a crazy way to like spend your time.
Should we do this over California? Tell them Newsom
How bad
doesn't
Newsom
need to
is.
be there. Like,
Don't raise the minimum wage to $20 an hour.
He's like, thank you, Captain Obvious.
Yeah,
This could have been in an email.
yeah. They would just get mad that we were just wasting paper and killing trees. Yeah.
Miss, dis, mal, and now arrow information. Let's see. Steven says, my torch will be playing Fran Drescher reading a Charles Dickens novel.
AI, we can make that happen.
Mm-hmm.
We
Either
should-
Fran or Gilbert Godfrey.
Gilbert.
Gilbert.
You know one thing.
Man, you do good voices.
You're doing,
man.
yeah.
That is impressive.
Is that the same voice as the Affleck voice? Though? Oh man.
Yeah, I found this whole article like I don't know, super interesting. It's like a fun, it's a fun, rebellious way to do something without the possibility of getting caught or killed.
Don't leave your fingerprints on that balloon yet.
I'm not sure the North Koreans are coming into South Korea to abduct folks very often.
Return to sender.
Return to sender.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I would love if we could find some of those leaflets and see what they actually say.
I'm curious.
It would be interesting. Like, you don't know how much information in general the North Korean people are hearing. You know, like, yeah, you don't know if they actually ever get any real news, or if they ever read a real book, or
you could just be telling them what year it is. We don't know. You know,
seriously.
I mean, they have their own calendar
We're
system.
screwed.
Yeah.
The North Korean calendar starts the year that Kim Il-sung was born. So
is that
to
right?
Tell them that it's the year 2024 would actually be news to them.
Oh man, my joke had more meaning than I thought it did. That's crazy.
It's wild. But yeah, like what could you say to a group of people? Like, that's basically saying, like, let's fly some balloons over North Sentinel Island and drop a bunch of leaflets on those people. What could you possibly say in their language that would make them realize, like, the world is okay out here?
Do we feel that we should not do that though, collectively? Like is that like,
we should absolutely do that? Those people just murder everyone who comes to their island. We should absolutely drop leaflets like crazy on them.
Really? You would do this?
Yeah.
I don't think that they can read.
Yeah, I was going to say, do they have written language? I don't even know, actually.
I bet they have written language.
No, there's no way that they do.
How is there no way that they do?
There's no way that we know that they do. Yeah.
All right. I'm looking it up, because that is a bold statement.
Is this the one that was throwing harpoons
at
South
Sentinel Island?
North Sentinel Island.
North Sentinel, whatever Sentinel Island with the uncontacted tribe that murders everyone.
Yeah.
Let's see. History, British visits. Here, I'll pull it up on screen so everybody can see what I'm looking at.
Also, I can't believe that I've been on the show for a year, and you've said that is a bold claim compared to everything else that I've said on this show.
It's a bold claim.
Yeah. Weren't they somewhat contacted, and then over time they
attempted?
No,
I think, yeah, but
they have an official website. I don't know how that's possible.
I don't think they host it.
They have an official website.
That's
somebody's got a good idea. We send 3D printed guns over Canada.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, if it gets real locked down up there, I'm down. I'm down for that. That'd be fun. Let's see. First peaceful contact was in 1991. Sentinels repeatedly warned them if they stayed too long. I don't know. Demographics.
What language do they speak?
Sentinelese.
Yeah, probably Sentinelese. Yeah, Sentinelese population. It doesn't say. If it does say, I can't find it that quickly. So I'm just going to go ahead and say Zane was wrong. They definitely have a written word.
I'm going to go with
they
Zane.
Absolutely do not.
I guess they don't have a written.
You guys, come on. That seems so racist.
Usually writing develops as you kind of get into more foreign exchange stuff, and when you're kind of stuck on an island by yourself and refuse to engage with anyone else, well, you don't really have too much of a use for it.
Disagree. Definitely disagree with that.
And you also don't get the idea of it.
I don't know about that. I feel like they were probably contacted for centuries prior to now. Like, there's no way they've been cut off from civilization forever.
No, they literally have been. That's the entire point. If they'd been being contacted all along, then we wouldn't be talking about it.
I didn't say all along. I said, I bet that they had been in contact with the rest of the world prior to 1991. I don't know when, but they had to have gotten there somehow. So at some point,
they died though.
They were in contact with the rest of the world, and so
at some point, like tens of thousands of years ago.
Tens of thousands.
I wouldn't say tens of thousands. Like, they probably migrated there. Well, what? Hawaii would have been. I'm trying to think, like the Polynesian thing, that would have been somewhere around 800 to 1,300, I think.
Okay, maybe
was one.
I retract tens of thousands of years ago, but I'm
So
standing on
it'd be several
thousands of years
hundred.
ago.
It'd be several hundred.
Okay, to tie this in with the Korea thing,
Perfect.
I would just want to steer us back there real quick.
Yeah.
The pamphlet thing is because those people are under oppressive rule. They are not choosing to live that way. But the people on this island, as far as I know, are not under the oppressive rule of one person that does know about the rest of the world and is like, no, fuck these people. They don't get to know. That's a whole different thing.
Yeah, that's
and
right.
I feel a little different about imposing my cultural sort of norms on that. I feel a little better about it when I'm trying to give someone the choice, the option. You know what I'm saying? Like the information to make their own decision. That's why I feel one way about the Korea thing and a different thing about the native population of the Seminole Island, or what is it, Sentinel Island, whatever it is.
Yeah, but I think Brian mentioned in the chat that North Korea used to be smuggling USB drives up there so that they got American TV and stuff like that. So there's obviously people who buy in, but there's also a lot of people who, go along to get along, because if you step out of line, it takes a movement large enough to overcome, the force that the government can impose. And you've got to make that movement happen quick enough where they don't have time to react. And if you can't do that, then you're kind of stuck, even if like 60-70% of the country is calling bullshit on everything. You don't know which neighbor is going to turn you in. You don't know which neighbor is going to, what family member is going to turn you in. You don't know what the punishment's going to be. So you're kind of stuck like, yeah, maybe 7 out of 10 people in your neighborhood are on your side and ready to let's just quit listening to the fat guy over there. But, those 3 that aren't, can cause a lot of damage to you before you get things going. So,
yeah, that's fair. Yeah, it's interesting. I just thought it was a cool story. It's fun way to rebel, fun way to try to help people.
Maybe they send them Taylor Swift lyrics.
That might just turn them off from the West.
Now they're all angsty.
Yeah.
Don't want to leave. Yeah, exactly. What if the Chinese balloons last year had instructions on how to repeal the 16th Amendment? What if, Stephen? What if? All right, Zach, let's get into some more local news. We're going to talk about some Georgia stuff for a minute.
Oh, this stuff. This is a fun story. I watched a video on this. No, I brought this story up and I watched a video on it from, I don't know if you guys seen on YouTube. I think it's Criminal Lawyer Reacts or whatever. He does long videos breaking this down. Yeah. And so I specifically looked. So what ended up happening is, this Young Thug RICO case has been going on for over a year. And the defense attorney found out that a witness who had already been sworn in was brought into the judge's chambers with the prosecutors for a meeting, and he was not informed of it. And usually, on an ex parte thing like that, without them, they'd at least notify the defense, hey, this is going on, we'll get you a transcript later or something. But basically he had a right to know, or at least the lawyer had a right to know that this was happening, because you're talking about a witness that was already sworn in. So are you pressuring, saying, hey, you better testify to what you're saying? Because I believe that's what the case was this witness was, even though he was given immunity, was kind of saying, I'm taking the fifth, I'm not saying this, I'm not saying that. And they were saying, well, we can keep you locked up until the end of the entire RICO trial, which could go on for years and years and years. So there was some sort of impropriety like that, and the Young Thug's lawyer made it known to the judge that he knew that this thing had happened, and the judge, rather than saying, yes, this happened, well, nothing improper happened, we'll get you the transcript, this or that, basically threw a tantrum and demanded that the lawyer reveal how he got the information. I believe the speculation, it was the apparent witness's lawyer probably slipped that info to him. is the thought. But the judge was demanding, you tell me who told you, and he's like, no, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing that. He was trying to cite some professional conduct code saying that he can't because it would violate that. So went back and forth.
So someone told him that wasn't supposed to tell him, but he also was supposed to be told by someone.
He theoretically should have been told that it was at least happening. Because
this is
you
like
have a sworn-in
witness in a small
You have a
case,
sworn-in witness having a secret meeting with the judge,
right?
Without telling the defense, with the judge and the prosecutor, and the defense wasn't there.
Yeah,
and like they said, the video I watched last night, there's proper times where those kind of things can happen, and it's not a big deal, and maybe nothing improper happened here, but at the very least, you're supposed to tell the other lawyer, hey, don't tell your client this. We'll get you a transcript like nothing improper is going to happen, and
then he finds out from somewhere else, and then he gets in trouble. He
gets in trouble because he says, well, I'm not going to tell you my source. And so my understanding on this is, well, he was given 20 days in jail for it on the weekends. He then asked the judge to make it.
Is that unusual to jail just on the weekends?
Well, it's the lawyer. So, I mean, it's the lawyer. It's an active case. So the judge is probably not wanting to continue dragging out a case that's been going on for over a year. So he probably imposed that sentence, and then he said, "Can we make it the Cobb County Jail instead of the Fulton County Jail, so I can work with my client?" Because I guess Young Thug's in the Cobb County Jail. So the judge is like, "Yeah, we'll figure that out." But my understanding, he appealed it and was granted bail, so he will not be in jail this weekend. It's stayed until the Supreme Court reviews it, and it's probably going to get tossed out. And I'm sure because what ended up happening with it is he was trying to call for a mistrial over it because he should have been told, and now he can't be certain that there weren't undue influences happening against his client, so he was standing up for his client there. And so it's probably from what I can understand, he's, especially since they've already kind of stayed that granted bail, he's probably not going to end up doing any time, and this whole year-long trial is probably going to end up in a mistrial, maybe, or at least I think it's going to end up with a whole lot of ability to appeal it. So it's another case of Fulton County stuff. But yeah, if you catch the video of it happening, as because before he leaves, there's another thing, and then the second lawyer that represents Young Thug also got up and was like, "Hey, I know the same exact information I found out from the same source as him, so you're going to do the same thing to me?" And the judge was like, just kind of let that one go. And then I think one of the lawyers that he has to deal with the Trump case going on there on the Trump defense side ended up catching wind of this and then dragging like 20 lawyers into the courtroom to talk to speak against this happening. Like it's a shit show. And Fulton County is a mess.
Yeah. Well, we've known that for a while now.
I'm hearing this just now for the first time.
Well, we know Fulton County can be a mess, but you've got this Young Thug case going on.
Breaking
and
news.
It took
County
almost a year to seat a jury on it, I think. And now they're months into it, and they're getting into this kind of a thing. And then you've got the whole Trump thing going on there, and Fannie Willis.
Crazy legal things happening in Georgia. Let's show the next one that's happening, Zach, or that happened just a few days ago. Gwinnett County bus got stolen, and this is the parade of police.
Good Lord.
That are chasing it.
I mean, I don't want to downplay someone stealing a bus, but it's still going.
It's still going, man. It's still going.
A bus is pretty obvious. I don't know if you need
Someone needs
400
to
cops.
teach the Gwinnett police a lesson in diminishing marginal utility.
It's like every cop in Gwinnett County is chasing that, and
I think part of my issue is they're all going the same direction. Like no one's thinking like, hey,
let's head him off. Like,
let's head him off. Like he's going down this way. Okay, half of us go the other way. Let's
you want to try to block a bus with a regular cruiser?
But I don't know how effective you are as car number 92. Like, how are you contributing to us helping with this?
I agree.
It's like they're going to start calling the cops are going to start calling their own traffic, and they might actually start having to go slower.
Like I watched the video when you posted it, Zane,
cops.
and the commentary on it was like, oh, it's every cop in Gwinnett, and then they're like, oh, that now there's some from DeKalb. Like it was just...
That's insane. Are there? I don't even know if there's that many cops like in my county.
Right?
That's crazy. I hope not. Actually,
there's so many cops. Mickey wants to know: were there still civilians on the bus?
Ooh.
Yeah. So the story of what happened with this is that it was actually one of the guys that was involved in the shooting at some mall in Atlanta earlier that same day. But he got on the bus and there was some sort of altercation where he stole a gun off one of the passengers of the bus, shot that guy, and then held the bus driver hostage. So it was actually the bus driver that was driving the whole time. But the guy that had like hijacked the bus told him that, keep driving or else I'm going to shoot you. Wow. It was crazy.
This sort of sounds like the movie Speed.
Yeah.
It really sounds like Speed.
It literally was.
Sandra Bullock on that bus.
Saying.
Oh my God.
Was Sandra Bullock on this bus too?
That's crazy.
Yeah, that is crazy. Yeah. I just the number of cops just blew me away. I mean, Zane put that in the chat, and I clicked on it, and just for 2 whole minutes, and just watching the cops go by. It was crazy. All right. One thing that Libertarian Party of Georgia has been promoting and focused on is a project called Banish Big Brother. It's all about surveillance and cameras and monitors and thermal detectors and speed trap and all this stuff that's going up all around Georgia right now. And for the past few years, and it's going to get much, much worse. Well, people in Britain figured out a hilarious way to deter all cameras. Go ahead and put that up, Zach. Protesters covered cameras with bat boxes. Authorities are not allowed to remove them under their own law.
Wow.
So
that's
bats
brilliant.
are protected species in England. And they're not allowed to move their habitats. So they just put up habitats in front of all.
That is brilliant use of the system.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
I started looking up what might be endangered here in Georgia. And there are some options for us to start doing that.
Okay.
Well, unlike Great Britain, you can at least have BB guns here and just pop some of those cameras.
True. That's very true. I never thought about a BB gun. That's a very smart idea, Nick.
Everyone should have it.
Not ever do.
Drive by. It's quiet. You're not going to get caught with it.
Mm-hmm. I like this.
My pellet gun's not so quiet, though.
Yours is a pellet gun, though. That's different than a BB gun.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
BB gun is nothing. Yeah. Hang on. Sorry. All right. What do we got next, Zach? Oh, yeah. Here we go. This is going to be the one to get us banned off YouTube. So let's play it loud and proud. This is the former vice president of Pfizer.
All of me, you'll know I spent over 30 years in research in the pharmaceutical industry and biotech. I trained in toxicology and I worked with colleagues designing experimental molecules that we hoped would become medicines. That gives me the credentials to stand, as it were, in the shoes of the designers of these vaccines and answer the question, what were you thinking when you made these design decisions. Now, you can go and watch any of my interviews, but I'll cut to the chase. And you may not believe it, but I am sure, not slightly, but sure, these materials were designed intentionally to harm, maim, and kill, and to reduce human fertility. That is my verdict. And I can stand it up. I will be in court, Supreme Court in Costa Rica very shortly, and I'll be using exactly this argument, but I will give the detail. That's the first point. So don't take these injectables. Don't take the next lot either. They will also be designed to harm you. All mRNA-based materials are dangerous. Don't take them.
So there you go.
Well, scary.
Yeah. It's a strange one.
Philip, how do you feel about this?
Yeah.
I wish there were captions on that video.
Yeah, I was a
Fair.
I had to turn up my volume to try to kind of distinguish what he was saying there. Like,
yeah, it's so we obviously at this point we know that it does cause some issues for many people, but this guy is saying that it was intentionally designed to cause those issues for those people, which is completely
he seemed
different.
very sure. Yeah.
And he seemed very sure of that, which is a wild. I mean, it's not that wild, but it is a very bold thing to say when so many people have had their lives ruined over speaking out against the vaccine. So it's an interesting take from the former vice president of Pfizer. Yeah, I don't know. Anybody got any other takes on it?
Why is he the former vice president?
I think he quit during
Did he resign
development of the vaccine.
Yeah, after the program started, I guess. Or
Yeah, that from what I read, that is the case.
I guess you can't have the current vice president of your company be going out there saying that the company's product is designed to maim and destroy. That's probably not a very good idea.
And that's another thing
depends.
that, like,
for Pfizer, no. For Raytheon, yes.
Good point. Good point.
I mean, unless he worked for NPR, maybe that might work too.
That's another thing that in the whole wake of that and the vaccines and the, then there was like the mandates and the company-wide things, and you had to get this and the government jobs, and, it effectively like culled out people by a certain way of thinking, and you really kind of groupthink your hospitals and your police force and your nurses and whatever. Like, if people, or like in this case, even just on the private side, if he resigned, now you're losing people that are just like, hey, like, I can't, ethically I can't be a part of this or whatever, and you still end up with a more narrow band of how people think in a company. And if we want to talk about like diversity being important in a company, diversifying the way you think might be the most important diversification in a whatever group it is, a school or a medical, someone that's administering any kind of medical interventions to people. And if you're going to only think on a one track kind of a way, or if it's a police force and you only think in one way, that's, I think, maybe one of the most dangerous side effects of the entire COVID phenomenon that we've had. And not that, mRNA vaccines having been designed to cause harm isn't problematic. Of course, that's hugely problematic, but I worry also about kind of the soft, side of it, of just gearing people in one direction within companies and agencies and whatever, but and governments. And
yeah, I agree. Sorry, I'm very distracted right now.
No, it's okay.
Yeah, Zane, you got anything else to say on this one?
I feel like this is the first time that I've ever been called upon to provide an opinion, and I don't have one. But
Okay. I mean, one of my questions.
You're very correct in saying that papering over potential dangers of the vaccines and pushing on people regardless of side effects or regardless of the harms outweighing the benefits is quite another thing from saying that it was actually designed for the intended purpose of hurting people. Mm-hmm. And that's a conclusion that even I'm not really on board with, at least as of right now. You know, I haven't done as deep of a dive into all this as a lot of other people have. Obviously, there's tons of evidence to essentially prove at this point that the side effects were completely swept under the rug on purpose. I don't know what kind of evidence this guy has. I'm assuming that, you know, he actually has the credentials that he's saying that he does. But, you know, if this is real, it'll be interesting to see where it goes. But, you know, if it actually really was, you know, intentionally designed to hurt people, then things are a lot worse than even I've been thinking, and I already thought that things were pretty not great already. So I just hope that that's not true.
Yeah, no kidding.
I just can't wait to have our 9/11 debate.
That still hasn't happened yet?
No.
Still hasn't happened yet. Steven had a kid. You know, there's only so many things we can do. Apologies, y'all. I'm having some Bitcoin issues with Cash App, and I'm just trying to make sure that it doesn't get lost in the blockchain.
Not important.
Not important.
Got any manhole content?
No, I'm done. It's been reversed. I'm all good. My Bitcoin is not lost forever.
Did you add in the water fountain content that I threw in the chat earlier?
I'm not talking about water fountains. No.
It's a good broader conversation.
Steven says, for 2 years, pharmacies around the country were provided blank data sheets with the text intentionally left blank in lieu of what usually has ingredients, common side effects, and years of study data.
Yeah, so I completely agree with that, but I don't think that contradicts what I said, where if your goal is we're trying to get this vaccine out there because we're trying to make money and we think that it probably helps some people, then you might just put it out there, get it out there with no data and cross your fingers. And that's something that would be consistent with not providing any data. And it wouldn't necessarily compel you to believe that it's bad on purpose.
Yeah, that's fair.
Not just that one data point yet.
Yeah. All right, y'all. It's time.
I am not fucking drunk.
Well, 19th or blue.
Every pretty girl deserves to go to a ball.
This is everything about it's a clam. I love it.
I gotta be honest with you, I feel like I'm a little bit too drunk to stand up.
On Zane, asshole.
I'm drunk right now.
All right, welcome to Drunkard of the Week. This week we had a super obvious one that I didn't use because we couldn't do Biden 2 weeks in a row. There's a video of Biden at some concert or some event where everyone's dancing and he's just staring straight ahead with his arms locked and just like smiling in the weirdest possible way. And so I chose not to do that one. Instead, we're going to go with the curveball. This week's drunkard is not a person. So here you go.
This in Seattle. Wow. God, what a day. Oh, enjoying that.
It's a dog eating a hot dog.
With the fun and everything.
A dog eating a dog.
I think it's got it all. Found that one. That's why.
That's a good boy or good girl right there.
Nice little.
We want to be free to do what we want to do.
Yeah.
We want to get loaded. Yeah. And we want to have a good time.
There you go.
I mean, okay.
That golden retriever. Yeah, Philip. Normally, look, no one submitted anything except for Hannah. One of them, none of y'all would have understood, so I wasn't even going to try. Only me and Hannah would understand it.
It was about Taylor Swift.
No, it was about sports. So none of
It
y'all
was
would get
Taylor Swift. Zane would have understood it.
We wouldn't understand it because it deals with sports.
No, maybe not you. I don't know. I don't know about your background, but Alden, Zane, and Nick would have no idea.
What was it? Was it like
Who's-
fifth?
who's
Was it fifth tier English football?
Who's
that what
Vince
it was?
Young, Zane, who's
What?
Vince Young? Who's Vince Young?
A quarterback
That's it.
of the
What's the name?
San Francisco 49ers.
No, incorrect. Vince Young, Philip.
Oh yeah, yeah. He used to play for Texas Longhorns.
Okay, yeah. So you might be the only one who would.
He would have got it. Yeah.
Okay, so it would have been for you. Yeah, there was a video of a chick, a reporter for NBC,
Mm-hmm.
interviewing a golfer
Mm-hmm.
who she thought was Vince Young.
Who was
When
it?
he points out that I am not Vince Young, she doesn't even acknowledge it and just continues on with the interview.
Oh
It's
wow.
incredibly painful. But
Did he answer
What
as if
what
he
golfer
were
was
Vince
it?
Young?
he did not. I can't remember which golfer it was. It
Was
was
it Mr. Nichols?
no, it was not. No, but yeah, it was incredibly painful to watch because you could tell she had no idea what to say. Like you could, he wasn't offended. He was like, "I'm sorry, but I'm not Vince Young." But I
But
will.
she kept going.
Proceeded to answer her question, even though it had nothing to do with him.
That's what I'm saying.
Double
Did he
down.
still answer? Yeah.
He still answered. It was weird. It was so weird.
I would have just pretended I was Vince Young.
Yeah.
Just gave crazy answers.
Oh,
That would have been the easier.
it wasn't
way to do
actually a. I just looked it up. It's not a professional golfer. It was a college football coach who was playing in a pro-am golf event.
There we go.
Okay.
So she thought it was Vince Young
Mm-hmm.
standing at like 5'8", even though Vince Young's like 6'5".
Nope.
Name any quarterback that's 5'8". Like,
She at the beginning of the interview, she lists off all of his credentials, like played, won the national championship with Texas and did this in pro and this and this and this. And
he's
like,
hearing all this. Like, this.
yeah, I'm not Vince Young.
So someone fed her bad information.
Still,
It had to be.
you have to at
Was it
least
Newsmax?
look up. It was
You gotta be able to roll with it, man. Yeah, it was Newsmax.
Newsmax. That's great.
Yeah.
Sadly, it was NBC, which makes it even worse. I
It was specifically was the Golf Channel,
Yeah, really.
which I guess might explain why they don't know anything about football.
That's fair. Yeah. I guess if she is just obsessed with golf, but still, just like if you're about to interview somebody, just look something up about them, and then you'll.
Or how about when they tell you they're not them? Be like, never mind. Officially,
be
never
like,
mind.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
Who are you?
Yeah.
We're talking about journalists here.
Yeah, all right.
So
No.
they got on a one track thing.
One track. yeah.
She did the whole just read what's on the teleprompter.
ESPN the Ocho. Perfect.
Have you seen where Biden is reading the teleprompter, like things in parentheses, like long pause and
Yeah.
insert person's name and all of these things lately?
So painful.
Oh my God.
Oh,
Yikes.
Steven commented on the dog thing. Is this cannibalism?
Dog eats dog.
Dog eats dog.
It's a dog eat dog world.
That's
That
so
should have been the
If we
caption.
only knew the truth about what's really in those hot dogs.
Mm. Maybe we are the cannibals. We don't know.
Yeah, Philip. Normally, the drunkard of the week goes to somebody doing or saying something on camera that can only be explained if they were drunk, but they're not.
Oh, okay.
So that's generally what the criteria are. But I got no good videos from anybody.
So we defaulted to a dog eating
eating a dog.
hot.
Yeah,
This is a very highbrow show. Yeah.
yeah, no.
Speaking of hot dogs, I heard that Joey Chestnut got kicked out of the July 4th hot dog eating contest because he accepted an endorsement deal from a vegan hot dog company.
Yeah, from some of that plant-based meat like slop that they make. Yeah.
What the Bill Gates one?
One of them.
Beyond.
I don't know. It was Beyond, or was it Impossible, or one of those ones? Yeah.
Who was the lady that said that she'd take his place? That looked very unassuming, but says that she can champ some dogs, and I'm like, I'd watch that honestly. So
just nope. We're just gonna stop you right there. Nope. Nope. You have a reputation to maintain. Nope.
Yeah. All right. While Philip's on the show, I won't go into that. But
All right.
He's trying to save me. He's trying to help me. Yeah.
We got time for one or two more topics. So let's talk about this NGO. Bring that up, Zach. So, U.S.-linked Ukrainian NGO unveils enemies list, including Zero Hedge, Tucker Carlson, Elon Musk, and Donald Trump.
Are we on this list?
I didn't make the list, but some of our friends did. So that's
Did
always
Candace
good.
Owens make the list?
I'm sure, but I know Dan McAdams, Ron Paul.
We got JD Vance, Rand Paul, Matt Gaetz, Marjorie Taylor Greene, Jim Jordan, Douglas, the best colonel, Douglas McGregor.
InfoWars.
Let's see. Yeah,
the best colonel is Colonel Sanders.
We got Jack Posobiec,
Charlie Kirk,
Kit Clarenberg,
Owens, Michael J. Knowles, Ben Shapiro, Ron DeSantis. Why does a Ukrainian NGO care about Ron DeSantis?
Maybe they know something we don't know yet.
Matt Taibbi.
Yeah, our buddy
Crowder,
Thomas
Lee
Massey. How about
Camp.
that? That's a good one. Who's Tate the Talisman?
Scott Horton, Garland Nixon.
Scott Horton's on there?
Right there.
Beast.
Angela McArdle's on there, Kim Iverson, Kyle Anzalone.
This is an extensive list.
It's like half of that list is people that we're intimately familiar with.
Yeah, no kidding. I mean, how many
Ukrainians have clarified this is not a kill list.
I mean, we know personally so many of those people. That is wild.
Yes, Angela McArdle is on there.
Yeah, my old friend Donald Trump is on there.
Dude, that's crazy.
Subtle flex.
people we have talked to, people that you might have in your phone, are on that list.
No kidding. That's some wild stuff. Like, why would an NGO care about anything 98% of those people say, whoa, what is this? So it's just they base it based on Donald Trump and a few other people, and then it's whoever's connected to them. Is that kind of what it
and
is?
so like somehow like Angela and the LP.
Oh, Vivek is on there.
Vivek, and then Max Blumenthal I just saw on there.
What?
Yeah, Ron Paul, Libertarian Party, Angela.
Wait,
McArdle.
Bring Our Troops Home is on the list. How do they even know about Bring Our Troops Home?
Bring Our Troops Home is on the list.
I'm
surprised Ben McGard isn't on the list.
It seems slightly
Rage Against the
slanted
War
on
Machine
the political
is
spectrum here.
It's definitely a little bit slanted at the very least.
Rage Against the War Machine, which connects to the People's Party.
Oh, that connects to us. Yeah. Man, what a wild graphic.
There.
Oh yeah, RFK's on there. What the heck? I mean, Alex Jones, I feel like he's on everybody's list. Angela McArdle's bubble is way too big.
I was just gonna say, like, you would think
LP.
Elon Musk's is smaller. Like, that's kind of weird. Like,
that is very weird.
So what I'm essentially seeing here is that every person or organization that I've ever agreed with on anything is on this list.
So I saw Kyle Anzalone on the list, and Scott Horton. Was Dave DeCamp on there? He's been on the show.
Yeah, he's been on the show. There's antiwar.com. If you zoom in on that bubble, who's the bubbles around anti-war? It's right next to your cursor. Nope, up, right there.
To the right, yeah.
Yep.
Zoom in. Eric, what was that? Eric Garris.
Yeah.
Tom Luongo.
I'm surprised Dave isn't on there. If all those other folks are.
I know Scott and Kyle are, so friend of the show, Dave DeCamp on there.
Yeah, I mean, Dave writes articles on antiwar.com all the time.
How does Noam Chomsky fit into this?
Wants to know if the propaganda report is on there. Did Binkley make the list?
It may not be quite big enough. Even though they were on Atlanta radio.
Oh, that's great.
Weird.
Yeah, that is just wild that an NGO comes up with people from a country that isn't theirs, that really 90-something% of those people had nothing to do with anything with the NGO or Ukraine or any foreign affairs. But they make a list with all these people who's spending their time doing this. And what is the purpose of that list? I don't get it. I'm also depressed that I'm not on it. So, there's that.
I guess it could be fun
Angela
just to make a
McArdle.
list of people you don't like.
I mean, I guess we have.
Speaking of Angela McArdle, she just tweeted that she's renewing her attempt to file conservatorship on Joe Biden.
She is the best. Oh my gosh. Philip, do you know who Angela McArdle is?
No.
All right. She is the chair of the Libertarian Party.
Mm-hmm.
So she runs our party, which me, Nick, Zane, and Semi Alden are all a part of.
I'm orbitally, yeah.
Yeah. I don't think Alden
Unofficially.
officially joined the party, but he
just
has
got to get him a membership, and then
yeah. But me, Nick, and Zane are active within the Libertarian Party, so that's
I still
why
need to go through the proper
the show
hazing.
kind of
Yeah.
grew out of that. Yeah.
What's that?
Because originally we started this show on the Libertarian Party of Georgia channel, and then
Correct.
Jake wanted to take it bigger and better pastures, so we branched it out and took it in.
Yeah. I wanted to be able to be a little more free with my words. I wasn't able to say certain things about certain things the Libertarian Party did at the time. So now we can say whatever we want, and no one can cancel us except YouTube.
Yeah, well.
After
All right.
Pfizer.
And yeah,
Yeah.
We're definitely getting a strike after tonight's episode, but it's only our second strike. We get one more.
Do we have an active strike right now?
No, we got it wiped off.
So we're good.
Nice.
Yeah, we're good. We're good.
We
for
can
the
spread
time.
all the vaccine misinformation that we want.
That's
Okay.
that's
Yeah,
until
plus
they
we'll just go to
review
Rumble.
until they review the footage of the golden retriever eating itself. then you might get one after tonight.
Yeah, we're promoting cannibalism. That's for sure. All right, Zach, let's go to we just got a couple more smaller stories to talk about. They're not going to be that extensive. Chairman Powell, the Fed, says they'll cut rates when they make sure inflation is moving back down to 2%, which for anybody keeping track out there, never.
Does moving back down to 2% just mean whenever it starts
Trends
going down from
at
whatever
all.
it is?
Yeah.
Because technically,
It's so
if it's at 7% and then it goes down to 6.8%, technically
Yeah.
it's moving towards 2%.
That's the vagary, the intentional vagary of that statement. Yeah.
But the ECB, I think, is already saying they're going to cut this summer. So
But
the Fed's
said they were
probably
gonna
going to
cut-
have to follow.
They said they were going to cut in the most recent one, and they didn't.
The ECB?
Yeah. Didn't they?
Yeah. Well, I don't know if it was that or if they were saying this summer they're going to start with cuts. But
Gotcha.
I know the ECB is talking about starting with cuts. So I would suspect the Fed's going to have to start moving along that way also, even though they can't seem to get the inflation back to 2%. And that's because they printed how many trillions of dollars during COVID. So, of course you're not going to print it. And then they're caught in this trap with it. And
Yeah. Well, they're just two different definitions of
the
inflation.
inflation's wild, and they're going to have to. And I'm surprised that it's kept afloat with rates as high as they are, and we didn't see a bigger slump in economic activity so far. Although the data is all screwy to begin with. So,
They screw with the data so much, and my issue is that when people say inflation, what they normally mean is just rising prices. Which I listened to Dave Ramsey on Theo Vaughn's podcast the other day, and
he was on Theo Vaughn.
Yeah, Dave is super smart with most financial things, but he does not understand what inflation is. That was extremely clear from their conversation. So even a financial expert who does extremely well for himself and everybody that asks for his advice doesn't know the proper definition of inflation. And that's worrisome.
When you put air in the balloon.
Exactly. That's
Yeah.
exactly it.
I mean, I guess to try to be a little bit charitable to Dave Ramsey, from the perspective of a personal financial advisor and the dire straits that most people that like ask him questions on his radio show are currently in, I think that if your working definition of inflation is a grocery number go up, that probably works if your goal is to just escape the thousands of dollars of debt that you personally are in. And then once you're out of that, then you can advance your understanding to, the correct definition of inflation being an expansion of the monetary base. But it's like, if you personally are in terrible shape, then maybe you don't need to worry about what's going on in the overall economy.
Right.
At least not
But
that much.
Describing
I agree with you there. I was talking more about the fact that he described inflation as an increase in prices.
That's the result,
on
as opposed to the cause. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what drove me nuts, because he wasn't giving advice to anybody at the time. He was just describing what inflation was, and that was wrong, incorrect. Like,
inflation is like adding to the base by basically printing or counterfeiting is essentially, but then what affects us all is when that dilutes everything and then the prices go up, but that's like the result of the inflation. Yeah.
I did a great, not to toot my own horn, but I did a great Free Georgia podcast on Monday about this.
Yeah?
Yeah. So if you want to go learn about some Bitcoin stuff and learn about inflation, go watch
Subtle flex.
No, what you need to do is call on to Dave Ramsey's radio show and teach him about what inflation really is.
I think I would get eviscerated in all the other financial aspects that he's an expert on.
Right. You have this one thing to add.
I have that one thing. Also, he said Bitcoin is just a scam for people to get rich quick, which...
Okay, well, now I've lost all my respect for him.
He said,
all that stuff I said earlier, I take back.
If by quick you mean 20 years, then
yeah, he legit said, I think his words were basically, no one has ever gotten into Bitcoin in order to prepare for 20 years down the road.
I just said 20 years. That's so funny.
I know.
Well, that's a terrible take.
Yeah, it's an awful
Dave
take.
Ramsey.
Exactly
Dave Ramsey is apparently the religious version of Peter Schiff.
Yes, that's exactly right. Yeah, he also described Bitcoin as crypto and crypto as Bitcoin. So I don't think he knows what he's talking about.
No.
I think he should be more like Philip and keep his mouth shut when he doesn't know what the topic is.
Serves me well.
Philip, how do you align with like the people around you, like your friends and family, like Thanksgiving dinner or something? Like, do you agree a lot like with the people around you, or are you at odds with some people that are close to you?
So I think probably more the latter, as far as it just depends on the topic, right? I think that if we're talking about Bitcoin and that sort of thing, I think we all might be like, hey, next topic, we don't know.
Next topic.
We don't know much to talk about here.
Next song, yeah.
But yeah, I think it just kind of depends, whatever the topic may be,
Gotcha.
I was wondering with like regards to just like the title of the book and everything, and like if you found yourself like in this position a lot, like in your personal life, and if this is like maybe where this came from, or
yeah, like the origin of the book basically came from 4th of July last year. My sister brought her family up to Boston to meet my family. My mom was up here too. We were in the living room, and my sister and I were having a conversation about something that, I don't understand. I don't remember what we actually were talking about. I just knew we were opposite sides of the spectrum on it.
Mm-hmm.
So when we were actually trying to have that conversation or debate, my mom jumps in and basically says, like, hey, like, it's 4th of July. We got fireworks coming on tonight. I don't need to see fireworks coming off right now, though.
Well said. Yeah.
That's good.
I mean, the big thing was like, I get what she was trying to do, like try to preserve the peace and let us have like some sort of family memory that we can look fondly of years later. But, I think ultimately it was just a lost opportunity for me to get to know my sister, because that was something that I was sharing that was not privy to her before. It's not something that she shared. And I think sometimes it's a gift to have a disagreement because you actually get to know people better. Like, I have no idea about Bitcoin to the level that I probably should know it, but I learned by just keeping my mouth shut and just asking questions and listening. But essentially what happened with that incident was just like, hey, like, if people are afraid of disagreement to the point that they just say, hey, we're just not going to entertain conversations,
right?
Then my thought was, okay, how many other people are probably going through something similar? And that's what, say, hey, let me see if I can help with this, like come up with a framework and let's write a book out of this.
And if you only talk when you agree, then I feel like this adds to like the bubble effect where you don't have that discourse with someone and you don't get that gray area and that perspective and understand someone better, as you're saying about your sister, and maybe understanding the topic better too, and maybe even changing your own position a little bit. Who knows, if you're open to that, which it seems like you yourself are. And I hope that for more people that they're open to kind of being fluid on their positions a little bit. And I break my own rule with it sometimes, but like I aspire to be like this, but I sometimes get a little too,
everybody
heated about it. But yeah,
like everybody does the things that they preach against. Like no one's perfect. Everyone's going to make those mistakes. So that doesn't disqualify you from being able to say that and make a good point. So that doesn't mean you're a hypocrite.
To err is human, but
yeah, exactly.
Then I'm really, really human, I guess. Like, yeah.
I can attest, Alden is very, very human.
Not superhuman, but very human. Yeah.
And I think there might actually be a lot for libertarians in particular to learn from this perspective of disagreement without disrespect, because of the way that our worldview just works. Because we libertarians think that the state is nothing more than the organization of mob rule, violence, and robbery. And so it's very easy for us to just completely write off people that don't think that, because a lot of libertarians will be like, taxation is theft. I think all of us, all the regulars on the show would agree to that as a factual statement, because just as it wouldn't be right for me to come up to you and charge you a tax by taking $20 out of your wallet, it doesn't magically become okay just because a bunch of other people voted to make it okay. But the result of that worldview is that, like, if I came up to you and said, I think that I should punch you in the face, your response to that should not be, well, I respectfully disagree. I don't think that you should be able to punch me in the face. Your response to that should be, no, you're not going to punch me in the face. F off. And so that is our gut reaction when we get into a lot of political debates. It's like, no, you're obviously wrong. You're obviously trying to violate, our rights, our humanity by doing all these things that the government claims to be able to legitimately do. And maybe we could, there are instances where we could actually make more headway if we didn't adopt that posture immediately.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Sounds like we should read Philip's book.
Sounds like every libertarian needs to read Philip's book.
I disagree.
Shut up.
You disagree. I respectfully disagree.
Respectfully.
Yeah. Well played.
All right, y'all. Well, we're at the 2-hour mark. Everybody who's still watching, who's still listening, really appreciate y'all tuning in. This show is brought to you by Rabbit Eye Wine. Go get yourself some blueberry wine made here in the state of Georgia. Philip, it's been fantastic having you on, man. Really appreciate it. Where can people find your books and stuff?
Yeah, you can find it on Amazon. I got Subtle Flex, 6 books on there. So I won't give you all 6 titles. Just look up my name, Philip Blackett. The spelling's right here, PHILIP, BLACKETT.
Mm-hmm.
And love to connect with people on social media. I'm on there too, different platforms. And Philip Blackett's my website. So yeah, happy to connect however possible. Keep the conversation going.
Heck yeah. We'll put all your info down in the goodness gracious description episode.
Yeah. In the words below the,
In the
thing,
show
with
notes,
the
yeah.
thing. Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna put them all somewhere. I haven't decided.
But we're gonna write it in the Sentinelese written language.
Yeah.
We're gonna send it up in a balloon and just pass it to people.
Pamphlets.
Pamphlets with my
Oh
information.
man.
All right.
Good callbacks.
For everybody who's still around, we like to end the show with 4 funny videos that aren't dogs eating hot dogs. So here's the first of the funny videos that I found for this week. So here we go. Let me zoom in a little bit. Nope, not zooming in on StreamYard. There we go.
Unbelievable.
What? Who was at the door?
The next door neighbour, wearing just a see-through nightie, asking to borrow a cup of sugar.
Are you serious?
Yeah, they winked at me and asked me to come up for a cheeky cup of coffee.
And what did you say?
What did I say? I said, fuck off, Dave. I can make my own coffee. He shut the door in his fucking face. What a liberty.
It's hilarious.
It's a good turn. All right. Let's see. This is less funny.
That reminds me of a joke.
What's the joke?
I don't know if I should.
Okay, let's not.
I don't know if we have time to get into it, but another time.
Fair enough.
It's a good joke.
All right.
Consumer didn't want Jimi Hendrix, but they got him, and it changed the world. And the consumer didn't want Sgt. Pepper's, but they got it. And they didn't want the Sex Pistols, but they got it. Fuck the customer. The customer doesn't know what he wants. You give it to him, and he likes it. And now there's an attitude in the music business where it's like, well, let's keep the consumer happy because that's what makes the music business go around. Let's put it this way. If a fashion house is a record label, right, like Dior or all those big fashion houses, do you think fashion would stay the same if they asked the consumer what they wanted to wear next summer? Why fashion always moves forward and we all look different and have different haircuts and we're all different because fashion doesn't focus group it to its fucking customers. Customers are idiots. 99% of them are fucking idiots. You know, not my customers. They're fucking brilliant. You're brilliant. And I respect you. But the customers of other bands, fucking idiots. The consumer.
I don't necessarily disagree with anything he said there.
I don't necessarily disagree with it either. I definitely, I mean, the whole customer's always right. That's not even the full saying. I forget what the full line is.
Oh, is that right?
But it's not the full line. Like it was cut off so that the customer should be always right, but it actually says the exact opposite. It says the customer's right in matters of taste. That's the full quote.
Okay.
So it's not saying the customer's always right. It's saying the customer's always right in matters of taste.
What a convenient edit there. That's interesting.
A convenient edit. Yeah. All right, here we go.
Does a non-binary person kill people?
How?
They/them. How does a
Never thought of that one. That's funny.
All right, final one for the evening. It's a stand-up comedy routine. Freaking great.
It's all about timing. I'm going to demonstrate how good my timing is with this next joke. It's going to be exactly 60 seconds long. I need somebody's help. Sir, in the hoodie, the Nike hoodie, do you mind helping me with this? What I want you to do is to count backwards in your head from 60 to 0, and when I point at you, yell out what number you're on. Does that make sense? Go ahead and start. So I was talking to my dad recently, and my dad's a pretty old guy. He was born in like 1956. So I don't know how old that makes him, but it's sure older than 48. Right, guys? So anyways, he's like a rough and tumble guy, and I was trying to brag to him one day. I don't know how it comes up, but he goes, Ryan, how many women did you sleep with in college? And I was like, I don't know, probably like 40, which is a total lie. It's a total lie. Like, if I was being honest with him and I counted all the women I've ever slept with throughout my entire life, the number would probably be closer to 27. I did not point yet.
Simon says.
Two.
Hey, right. Oh, God, look at that. Yeah. Comedy's all.
I thought that was freaking great. All right, y'all. Well, that'll do it for this week. Appreciate y'all tuning in. Had a great time. Philip, again, thank you so much for coming on, man. Had a blast. Stick around for after the credits, and we'll chat for a little bit.
Absolutely. My pleasure. Enjoyed it, guys.
Heck yeah. Nick, Zane, Alden, y'all got anything to say before we exit? Perfect.
Nope. I guess not.
Peace out, everybody.
Cheerio.
See y'all next week.